Hello everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to be playing Tryndamere, and we'll be facing off against the Elder Dragon adventure from the Titans of Runeterra campaign. I felt like it wouldn't be proper if I didn't use Tryndamere a single time throughout this entire campaign, mostly because he came out when they first released this campaign, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that's why we're playing him today. That's the entire reason. I think I still have the same setup I used last time I played Tryndamere. We're going for the Starforge gauntlets for the extra mana and then double Stalker's Blade for the board presence or board impact when we do get Tryndamere off of the Call to Arms. Other than that, yeah, let's get to it. Just as a quick reminder, Dragon's Wrath, when the foe plays a unit with 6 plus base cost, it plays a random Dragon Soul on it. Okay. I think we'll manage. Rush them down, Black Market Discount, Beagle Dust Sprinkle. Black Market Discount is so bad. It shouldn't be an epic. Let's reroll. Grander Plaza. Now that's a epic worthy relic or a power. Yeah, let's pick it up. When none of the foe's units survives damage, the foe creates a 0-cost gem in hand. So all we have to do is immediately kill the opponent's units and not let them survive. Hunting board in the mirror, caught in the cold. Glacial Saurian. Let's keep this and just toss it in the mirror back because we can draw him off of the Hero's Welcome. If I'm remembering correctly, the Chemtech Dragon Soul, which would revive the opponent's units with full health, was bugged the first time this adventure came out, so it didn't revive anything. Let's hope it's still the case, so that way we can just... It's still the case, so that way we can just kill the opponent's units without having to worry about them coming back. Okay, it's not a 6 plus cost unit, so it doesn't get a soul. Let's shuffle Tryndamere back in. Preferably, we would like to get him off of the Call to Arms. It's fine. The stunning of my unit is not fine, however. Let's keep the pressure on, I suppose. We won't kill the opponent in a single turn, but we're definitely outvaluing him. And the longer the game goes on, the larger my units get, so that's a plus. We did waste the rally effect here, but I wanted to attack without giving the opponent an opportunity to respond. That way we can just go for the rally effect next turn and hopefully close out the game that way.
My strength is that of the mountain.
+3 attack, okay, that doesn't impede my game plans. But that guy did get the Chemtech Dragon Soul. Well, let's see if it's still bugged. We'll attack with everything and hope for the best. He only has 2 mana, no way he can survive, right? And we get to test out if, yep, it's working properly now. It does revive the opponent's unit. So that's one thing to consider going forward. Icequake, who's got the Ancient, Piercing Darkness. It would be nice if who's guarded Overwhelm. But I suppose it's still the best option out of all of these, just because it can be treated out with the Call to Arms. Fiora, Nocturne, Ezreal. Fiora is interesting. We don't have ways to protect her, however. But it would be cool if we could just close out the game with 4 strikes. We should reroll here. We would like some larger units, I think. Yeah, let's reroll once. Zillion, Evelyn, Sivir. Sivir as elusive, that's cool. And the Inner Sanctum has Home Turf, so it doesn't really mess up my draw all that much. Maybe it's worthwhile. Maybe it's worthwhile to go for the Sivir. Yeah, let's do it. It's not the best thing in the world, but it could be significantly worse. And this way, at least we get to preserve our rerolls for the future. The foe's units and Nexus have tough. When the foe attacks, they play Wildfire. We definitely want the game to go on for longer. So let's not go for the opponent that just burns us to death. Either way, we're going to get a healer encounter after this. So we'll be able to cut a card from my deck. Ooh, immediately it procs. I had no idea it worked like that. Good to know. I can barely kill that unit, which is very lucky. None of these matter. I had to use the lucky finds there, otherwise they'd be discarded, which is a bit unfortunate. Maybe I should have dropped down another unit. Maybe the Mighty 4 would have been better. It would benefit more from the buffs at the very least. Do I drop down the Sivir? No, let's go for the Poro. Keep it up. Oh, that was definitely the correct decision. I definitely want to kill the Violen as soon as possible. I don't want the opponent's formidables to grow massive. Let's keep this going slow and steady. Drop down the Sivir so my units are protected while they attack. And it's very likely that we'll be able to just close out the game here because my units are just going to be elusive, which means they get a free hit onto the opponent's Nexus. Okay, let's try to get as much damage as possible onto the board. Perfect. Okay, Sivir was definitely the correct choice. The fact that she has elusive means that we can use her as a finisher when we have a full board of units. Or not even a full board, just a decent enough board will close out the game. Anivia, Mammoth, Shaman, Rond. It would be better if Rond still summoned the sigils of the Storm on summon instead of play. Now it's just the averagely statted unit. So maybe I should go for the Mammoth Rager. It's understated, but at the very least it has a good keyword in Overwhelm. And it heals us in case we need it. Yeah, let's go for the Mammoth Rager. Let's cut a card. What is the weakest card in my deck right now? I don't really like the Elixir of Iron. It's just +0/+4. But at the same time, I also don't really like the Hunting Boar. Normally it would be nice, because it has Challenger, so you can drop him down on the first turn and immediately trade into something and ramp. But we don't need ramp in this adventure, or we don't need more. And we already have Grander Plaza, so all of my units get Challenger around the turn they're summoned. So maybe I can forgo the Hunting Boar. Also, it can't block, so that's another downside. Yeah, let's get the Hunting Boar. Eclipse Dragon or Camouflage Dragon. Either way, the opponent's going to grow their dragons everywhere. So I guess I use the rewards as a tiebreaker. Monastery of Hirana allows me to cut a card from my deck. Do I want to cut even more cards from my deck, however? The Elixir of Iron is a tempting cut. Yeah, let's go for the bottom path. When the foe slays one of its allies, grant dragons everywhere +2/+1. If I just keep control of the board, then he won't have any allies to slay. Let's toss that back. Definitely want to pull it with its item. I could go Sivir on the first turn, but that seems unnecessary. I can actually go Treasure Seeker into Call to Arms, because Call to Arms is 2. That's interesting. I think it's worth it, honestly. It gives us one extra buff. That's unfortunate. Now I probably won't get to keep the Treasure Seeker on board. I should have gone for the quick attack. That was my bad, honestly. It's fine. I can use this to clear out 2 of the opponent's units. Like this.
Business as usual.
Now he has no board. My Sivir levels up. And I can go for the kill next turn. Maybe. Sivir stats won't stay that large, so it might be a bit more awkward to close out the game with her. Well, at the very least the opponent is not getting any buffs off. So we're safe on that front. Let's just develop a board and go for a attack here. Yeah, I'll pull the Scuttlegeist, get a little bit of damage into it. Since we're not going to be able to close out the game anyway, might as well just set that up so that it can be killed later on. Let's develop a Mighty Poro. The opponent's going to develop something here, obviously. I should have known.
Business as usual.
But we can just do this. Clear one of the opponent's units and then set up so that he dies when we Call to Arms again. Ooh. Nice. It would be more relevant if the opponent had a board, but at least this way we won the game with a empty board on the opponent's side. It's a little bit more aesthetic. Now, time to see if we get lucky on the monastery. Inner Sanctum, Caught in the Cold, or Treasure Seeker. I might as well just cut the Inner Sanctum, right? What else am I going to cut here? I actually do like the Treasure Seeker because it allows us to go for a Call to Arms right away. Get 2 buffs to the deck immediately. But Inner Sanctum gets pulled out of the deck, so we don't even have to play it. Let's cut it. Makes things more consistent, and we have 2 copies of it anyway, so there is a chance we draw it later on, and I don't really want that. And here I feel like we also got the Elixir of Iron. I don't really like it all that much. Now our deck is either cheap units that we can play on the first turn alongside the Call to Arms, or just big units that we can cheat out with Call to Arms. Either way, we come out winning. The opponent's probably going to go for a... what's it called? Shyvana right away. Let's drop down the Potiporo then. It contests Shyvana relatively decently.
Would you know them to see them again, Jerick?
Do I want to kill the Dragon Shao? Honestly, I feel like this is more of a threat. At least right now. There's the Shyvana. How do I kill that? If I play the Severe, I can kill it right away. Alright, I need to go for the Call to Arms in order to have the attack token. So I just have to hope that we pull something good here. In that case, let's shuffle the Mammoth Treasure back in. Ooh. That's a very large Usgar. Well, I won't clear the opponent's board, but at the very least we set up a kill there and we remove this champion right away. And the unfortunate part is the Dragon Shao is going to waste our Frostbite effect every turn. It's fine. Let's Call to Arms. Try to rally. So we can remove one of the opponent's units here. Actually, we can go for both. All we have to do is... Actually, no, we can't go for both. We can at the very least deny the opponent the opportunity to deal meaningful damage if we do this. We attack like so. We don't deal a significant amount of damage to the opponent's Nexus, but at the very least we are keeping control of the board. At this point that's more important. Okay, I'm pretty sure we just close out the game here. Let's pull that there, pull that there. We'll let him block with the Dragon Shao however he'd like. Yeah, I figured as much. Obviously he's going to try and preserve as much health as possible. That could be a problem. He still has 5 mana, but fortunately I can just play the Severe here. She levels up immediately. And then I'll attack next turn, and my entire board is going to be protected with Spell Shield. And they're going to be able to go through the opponent's blockers with the elusive keyword. Never mind. Well, that's just threw a wrench in my plans. I guess now I have to rely on the Call to Arms in order to close out the game by pulling out something big. It's big, but it's not exactly what I wanted. I could have just gone for the Cult Worms instead of the Severe on the previous turn, but I figured it would be unnecessary. Turns out that just made it so the game goes on for an additional 2 turns. That's a big oversight on my part. It's fine. All the other encounters were going way too fast anyway. Let's pad this video's runtime a little bit. Shadow Totem unfortunately doesn't work as it used to. It's no longer a summon effect, it's a play. Challenger is interesting. Immortal on the Severe, however, is very tempting. That way we give Severe extra survivability, and if some of the units that attack alongside the Severe do end up dying, they just get brought back. Okay, let's do it. Seems decent, so... Thrice-bound, proper offerings, lighting the way. Lighting the way allows us to go for Cult Worms every turn, because we just refill our spell mana. And while Thrice-bound summons a Nuzgar, the Ancient. We don't really care about it, then... Considering the other options, it's definitely better to go for the Lighting the Way. Cloud Drake or Ocean Drake? I think we have to go for the top path. The Mountain Drake is just... not Mountain, the Ocean Drake is just going to burn us to death and control our board with high damage spells, I feel like. At least if the adventure is anything like I remember. Okay, so let's... First of all, let's drop down the Pautiporo. I'm going to attack, then I go for a Cult Worms. Never mind! The opponent bounced my Pautiporo back to hand. Well, in that case, I'm going for Avalrose and Hearthguard. We're going to go for Avalrose and Hearthguard. We're going to attack like this. Kill all of the opponent's units, or at the very least the meaningful ones. And then next turn I'll go for the rally with the Cult Worms. Let's hope the opponent doesn't get any more bounces. But if he does get more bounces, I would prefer it if he used them on the Avalrose and Hearthguard. At the very least, that would be a way to get more buffs on my deck. Let's shuffle Tryndamere back in. Glacial Saurian. Oh, that does nothing. That's a bit of a bummer. Oh no. Can I get to attack, please? You're being very inconsiderate, opponent. That's a scary board. Let's try to remove as much damage as possible from the opponent's side of the board. Block here, take 27. Okay, things are definitely not going my way here. I might need a miracle to survive here. Let's go Treasure Seeker. This is going to give the opponent an opportunity to do something. And it just burns me to death, okay. 8 plus 8 damage to my Nexus. I was not anticipating that. Fortunately, I have the revive, so we can try again. I thought this guy only had bounce effects and stuns. I guess I was wrong. Makes sense. Those two cards do reference wind and clouds in some way. So of course the Cloud Drake would have them. Well, let's try again. Let's drop down the Potiporo. We're going to attack. We're going to play the Cult Worms. And then we're going to attack again. And the opponent won't be able to do anything about it. And in fact, we are even going to be able to go for an additional unit because we get mana back from our lighting the way. There we go. This is how things should have gone last game. I guess the opponent just drew better than me. Or he drew the exact cards that would save them in such a situation. That's fine. I'm going to play the Sivir, go for a Cult Worms and then attack with everything. And the opponent's just dead on board. Yep. Turns out it was that simple. Just draw better. Or the opponent draws worse. Either one will do. I think here it was definitely because of the opponent drawing worse. Tryndamere with Locket of the Iron Solari. And I'm summoned, give other allies +2/+0 this round. Now let's get more Tryndameres. If we can hit Tryndameres off of the Cult Worms, I'll be very satisfied. Shifting Sands, Battle Fury, Warmother Skull. Warmother Skull is interesting, but it's a bit too slow. At least Battle Fury summons an 8/8 when we play it. Yeah, let's pick it up. It's Tryndamere's champion spell, so it's not the worst thing in the world to give it an item. When an ally dies, you'll want to the enemy nexus. I'm going to use one reroll here. Now watch as I get something worse. Fixer Upper. It's a bit meh, but I'll take it. The Rekindler, Spells Chest. Are we strong enough to take on the Peculiar Dragon? I don't think so, considering we just lost last encounter. So, Bodir of the Blackened Ice it is. When the foe frostbites an enemy, they summon a Sigil of the Storm. So I guess the opponent's going to have a lot of frostbites then. It's fine. We just need to attack anyway. I'll keep the Mighty Poro and the Caught in the Cold. It might end up being relevant. I'm actually going to save Tryndamere in hand, just in case I need to clear the board next turn. There goes the unit I just summoned. Thanks, opponent. I definitely didn't want to attack with it or anything like that. It's a bit more awkward, but I suppose I can do this. We're going to pull that here. We're going to go for the Cult Worms on one of the Adultsky Snow Dogs, I guess. Ooh, and we pull a Severe. That's cool. And we can even kill the Bodir right away.
I go where the trouble is.
That means we got our unit back. That was a pretty decent turn. I was worried for a second there when the opponent just captured my unit. Turns out I had no reason to be afraid. Here I can even go Battle Fury on the Severe. Then follow it up with Occult Worms. I could also just Tryndamere after Occult Worms. Tryndamere clears both of the opponent's units and I go for an attack that way. Sure, let's go for that. Ooh. Uzgar is definitely going to deal a bunch of damage to the opponent. Oh right, it's only 2 strikes. I guess they both... or the second one wasn't enough to kill the opponent's unit because the buff wasn't applied. The buff from our power, from our Bloodsworn Pact. In my defense, Tryndamere very rarely comes down when I do play Tryndamere, funnily enough. So I didn't remember that's how the Stalker's Blades interacted with the buff. It's fine, we're just going to close out the game here anyway. Unless the opponent has a Frostbite effect. Okay, it doesn't. I was honestly expecting the opponent to have Frostbite effect here. Actually, it wouldn't even matter, because Severe gives everything Spell Shield, and unless the opponent got rid of the Spell Shield on the Severe, they wouldn't have been able to get rid of the Spell Shield on all of the other units. So I was actually fine. Okay, Ravna is extremely redundant because we're already buffing up our deck by a whole bunch, but it increases our stats by so much that I definitely need to take it just just because I think it's fun. That's my reasoning. What card do I cut here? Caught in the Cold, maybe? Nah, we might need a burst speed Frostbite effect. Then Mighty Poro? Mammoth Rager? Battle Fury? Battle Fury is actually not the worst thing in the world. Maybe I'll just keep my deck as is. Maybe I toss the Yadulski Snow Dog. Yeah, it's a barrier. It's a unit with barrier, so it's interesting defensively. Also offensively with the challenger effect from the Grander Plaza. Maybe I could toss the Mighty Poro then. It's just stats, and we already have a lot of units that are just stats with the Overwhelm keyword. Yeah, let's do it. Let's toss the Mighty Poro. At the very least, the Yadulski Snow Dog is a bit more excusable because it trades into something and then stays alive. The Mighty Poro just gets damaged through, but it's the only thing it really does. And I feel like we're going to need to keep control of the board against the Elder Dragon, just so he doesn't actually get to level up Elder Dragon. Let's test out the water with a Treasure Seeker first. Cloud Drake. Okay.
Watch your head.
Let's just attack like this. Try to deny the opponent the cost reduction from the Herald of Dragons. Let's call to arms a Sivir. We already have a Sivir in hand. That's extremely lucky. Now we get to kill both of the opponent's units. Actually, no. The Gemtech Dragon Soul is going to keep that Kadagrin alive. Still, This is actually
It's just waiting to be
good,
found.
right?
You won't believe what we found today.
Can do
Take
this.
your pace.
And this actually sets up so that all of my units survive. And I kill most of the opponent's board as well. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go for this attack.
I'm a woman of principle.
Considering
Mine
how
is to
many
get paid.
dragon boons have been played on the opponent's units, and the fact that he has a herald of dragons on board, he might be able to go for the elder dragon here. Okay, he's probably going to go for elder dragon after this dragon then. Let's try to get Tryndamere off of the cult to arms. Not the Tryndamere. Still, Tryndamere is probably decent enough here. We killed those two at least. Yep. There's the elder dragon. A bit too little too late, opponent. Because now I can just do this and both kill the elder dragon and the unit you already have on board. Well, at the very least I prevent the elder dragon from attacking. Do I want to go for something first, or do I just attack right away,
Business as usual.
close out the game? How do I want to do this? I can either attack like this, everything goes through with Sivir. Actually no, Sivir gives everything so spell shield, so it's probably fine to do this. Like, what's the opponent going to do against spell shielded units? Nothing, yeah, I figured as much. I was honestly considering killing the elder dragon there, but there was no need. Okay, that was not as smooth as I anticipated, but the victory is a victory nonetheless. And it was a fun run too. The back and forth definitely sold it. So yeah, that will be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Till then.